Guys, now please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Guys, now please confirm to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Those who are attending in online. Am I audible? Is my voice on screen is clear to all of you guys? Now please confirm to me. Am I audible? Is my voice on screen is clear to all of you guys? Now please confirm to me. Everybody guys, now please respond to me. All of you are getting my voice on screen. Right. 1 minute. Right, sir. Now check it. What topic here we are discussing actually? Guys, any idea then what we are discussing now? At least what course we started there yesterday? Basic awareness I'm asking to you. Right, sir. Now the concept here we are going to start today. We have to talk about Springboard, the basic introduction part. Springboard introduction topic here we are going to understand. All right, now let us understand it. What is Springboard? What exactly the meaning of Springboard? What is this Springboard? Okay. All right. Now observe carefully some of the points. Very simple introduction about this Springboard. Now just we have to understand it now. So what is Springboard now? Springboard is an open source Java based framework developed by Pivotal team from the Spring framework vendor. Pivotal team is also a Spring framework vendor. There we can understand it now. What is this Spring Boot actually? Spring Boot is an open source Java based framework developed by Pivotal team. Right. Now this is a simple thing. Just it is an open source Java based open source. Guys, now tell me what's the meaning of open source now? What you're thinking about open source? Any idea? Java is an open source software. What's the meaning of it? Not only Java. Okay, now here I'm taking about what the Spring Boot. Spring Boot is open source, but before that we have to understand Java is also what there. Java is also a open source software. So what is the meaning of this open source software actually? What you are thinking about it? People are saying that free to use. That means you are thinking about it without taking license. Just we are going to use it, right? Without taking any license, just we can download and we can use this, right? This is what you are thinking about this open source. No, there is a freeware. Then what you are thinking about it? There is a freeware. Freeware and open source both are different. Both are not same. Freeware is what? Freeware in the sense without taking any license, directly we can download and we can use that product. That is what that freeware. But what is the meaning of open source? Open source means that along with the framework, along with the product, automatically along with the framework, automatically source code will come. Java is open source. Along with the Java software, when we install Java software, automatically source code will come to us. Once source code is coming there, that we can customize, that we can modify as per our requirement. That we can modify, that we can customize as per our requirement. So this is the meaning of like what there open source. Similarly, Spring Boot is what there is a open source Java based framework developed by Pivotal team. Of course, there are not included that was designed on the top of the Spring framework only. not like any other one. Just it is an extension of the Spring framework, not like what there is a replacement for Spring framework. Just it is an extension of the Spring framework. Okay, on the top of that Spring framework only the Spring Boot was designed. Try to understand the point here, what I'm telling you. Okay, sir, good, nice. This is the very first point here we have to understand about what there Spring Boot. It's an open source Java based framework. That's okay, fine. After completion of this, then what about the next point here? After understanding this, Spring Boot, what we are able to do with this Spring Boot? Spring Boot makes it easy to create standalone applications, or else maybe standalone, comma, production grade Spring based applications, that we can just run. That's it. Right, sir. Now there is a lot of meaning inside this statement. Please all of you read out this statement here, what I have given. Spring Boot makes it easy to create standalone production grade Spring based applications that we can just run. Now try to read out the statement, try to elaborate it. There's a lot of meaning inside this. You have to understand clearly the point now. Now later on I'm going to give that elaborated information for it, but time being here we have to understand what is this Spring Boot actually. Spring Boot makes it easy to create standalone production grade Spring based applications. Standalone in the sense, just we already aware about it. Just it's a matter of preparing a simple Java program. Okay, that's the meaning of standalone. No client server architecture. Just we are preparing like what there a normal Java class and main method. That's it. That's the meaning of like what there standalone. Okay, later I'll come back to this point here. Standalone. Production grade Spring based applications. Production grade. What is the meaning of this production grade actually? Production grade in the sense, if the project is available in development part, only development part concentration is going to be happen, then other metrics or maybe health checks are not going to be added. But if you prepare any project along with your health check or production, that means metrics in the sense like what there are, the servers are down or not, how many threads are working or not, how many connections are available in the pool or not, all this monitoring tools are going to be added. They are nothing but what their metrics and health checks. Understand my point? Along with our project, if we add this kind of administrative tools, administrative things, if we add there, then that is nothing but what their production gear. That is what the production grade Spring Boot, Spring based applications. Production grade application in the sense that application should be ready to deliver to the respective clients. That is the meaning of what their production grade. In general, if you prepare a project, not only the project, along with that project, some like administration kind of dashboard here we have to provide. Along with this project, if we provide some administrative tools, then that is nothing but what the production grade application that we are going to deliver to the respective clients. That's the meaning of this production grade. And it easy to create standalone. Spring Boot application is always a standalone application, guys. Observe carefully. Spring Boot application is always a standalone application. Later I'll talk about this point also, but time being we have to understand Spring Boot makes it easy to create a standalone production grade Spring based applications. Production grade in the sense for delivering an application to the client, what exactly the support is required, that all the support here we are going to provide along with our what there Spring application, Spring Boot application. That is nothing but what their production grade. All the administrative activities along with our project, then that is what their production grade application that we are going to prepare through a standalone application and easy to deliver that application to the respective client. This is the meaning of like what there Spring Boot makes it easy to create standalone production grade Spring based applications that we can just run. Right. Now tell me, now all of you now tell me, I have an enterprise application, I have a web application, at the same time I have a normal Java program, simple core Java program. Which one is easy to run, guys? Now tell me. Which one is easy to run? Is that enterprise application is easy to run or simple core Java program is easy to run? Now tell me which one is easy to run. I'm asking this question to all of you guys. Which one is very simple to run? Which one is simple to run? Is it core Java program or simple enterprise application? Definitely core Java program is very simple to run. Am I right or not? Core Java program is very simple to run. Understand my point clearly? Right. Now Spring Boot application is also be like what there, a simple Core Java program. A simple Core Java program. That Spring Boot is also be what there, a simple Core Java program. That it is very simple to run. Understand my point here? When compared with enterprise application, that is the point here what we are getting clearly. Okay, fine. After that, after completion of this point here, what next one here we are going to understand? Next point here, yeah, the next point I'm giving elaboration for the standalone and production grade. Again, I'm going to give some elaborated information. Now try to put more concentration. What's the point here I'm telling to you? Observe carefully. Spring Boot allows us to create a standalone application. Spring Boot allows us to create a standalone application. Observe carefully. Now I'm going to write it now. In order to create any type of enterprise applications, any type of enterprise application like a web application, comma, like web application, comma, distributed application, comma, distributed applications, and so on and so on and so on, where it is simple. Answer my point here, and so on, where it is very simple to execute the standalone applications. Guys, everybody understand my point clearly? Now please read out this statement here. There is a lot of meaning inside this. After that, I'll give much clarity on this point here. Everybody understand this point now. Spring Boot allows us to create a standalone application in order to create any type of enterprise applications like web application, distributed application, and so on, where it is very simple to execute the standalone applications. Right. Now I analyzed this point. Now I'm going to give some clarity for you. Now try to understand this point clearly. Say for example, all of you listen carefully, guys. Observe carefully. Now, first of all, I'm telling information to you. First of all, tell me, I want to prepare a web application, a simple servlet application. What I require, guys, now tell me. I want to prepare a web application. Now tell me, how it is possible there? If you want to prepare a web application, now this is web application, for example, I created. Everybody understand this point clearly? Now here we are preparing like what there? A web application. Web application, here I created. To run this web application, for example, client server application only. Now this is a server side application only. To run this web application, what is required now? Definitely here we require server or not? Definitely we require what there? Server software is required or not? Definitely we require what there? Server, application server here we require. Application server here we require. Along with this application here we require what there? A database is also required. Along with this application, no, we require what there? A database also, no. Okay. All right, sir. So now the point is what there? Web application I prepared here, where number of web resources here we provided. Number of web resources here we provided. All these are web resources, no? Maybe HTML pages or servlets or maybe some DAOs or maybe service components, whatever it may be. Some resources can be provided. Web application is okay. Between this web application and the database, there are some connection here we require. Connection here we provided there. Then after that, to execute this particular application, to run and to test and to develop this application, to execute this application, we require some application server and its environment. Okay, now if you want to execute this, then what we have to do now? First of all, we have to start the server. First of all, we have to start the database internally. We have to start the server. After starting the server, here we have to take what the browser. There we have to type URL pattern all. There we have to write what the URL. Then we have to submit request to the web application. Then web application is going to be executed. That means first of all here we have to start the server. After that we have to deploy the application. After that we are going to submit request to the respective application. Got it or not? This is in general web application development here what we are doing. Guys, now first of all give clarity for me. All of you are getting clarity up to now. Is everybody respond for my question, guys? All of you are getting clarity up to now. If you want to prepare a web application and if you want to execute a web application, what exactly the environment we required? That environment would be like what? First we have to prepare web application, then we have to make ready our database. After that we have to start the server, we have to install the server, we have to start the server, we have to deploy this application into the server. After that only we have to take a browser, there from that browser we have to submit request to the application. Am I right or not? Please all of you respond for me, guys, what I am telling you now. These many members are attending this class now, but nobody is giving response now. Only every time 1 or 2 members only are giving response, not everybody. Come on. Web application execution process, is it the point or not? Right, sir. Now this is web application process. So explicitly we have to start the server. Explicitly we have to deploy the application. Before that we have to install the server in our system. After that we have to make ready the database. Then only we are able to submit our request. If we are using Spring framework, this much of environment here we have to do. Understand my point clearly? But listen carefully. What Spring Boot is simplifying the total process. No, just we can prepare the application. That's enough. But all these activities, in the case of the Spring Boot, what it is doing there, whatever the activities here we are doing to execute our web application, like installing the server, then preparing the web application, start the server, deploy the web application server, whatever the activities that we are having there, that all these activities are provided in a simple application, in a simple core Java application. That is what their standalone application. This is like what their a standalone application is prepared by Spring Boot. Now inside the standalone application, all these activities are going to be provided one by one, one by one. All these activities are going to be provided one by one, one by one. Like what there? Activity number 1. All right, sir. Now this is number 1. Number 2, activity number 2. This is number 2. Activity number 3. Like this. First of all, and so on, and so on, and so on. All the activities are going to be provided. To perform all these activities, all the activities are going to be provided in a single application, standalone application. Activity number N. Everybody understand my point here? All the activities are listed here now. All right, so when we execute the standalone application, the standalone application will make ready the server. Standalone application will deploy the application to the server. The standalone application will make ready the database. The standalone application will establish the communication between application and the respective database, and so on and so on and so on, up to the getting output, up to the generating output. The standalone application will do that. Now just what we have to do, guys, now tell me, if it is a case, if you want to execute our web application, no need to do anything with our web application. Directly we have to start executing the standalone application. We have to start executing the standalone application. Just as a matter of clicking on run button in Eclipse IDE. If you click on this, if you execute this standalone application, the standalone application will make ready server, will make ready application to deploy, will make ready the database, and it will do everything about our enterprise application. The standalone application will prepare the application, will deploy the application, will start the application, will start the server, will stop the server, will restart. Everything could be done by what there, the standalone application. Now the Spring Boot is providing this standalone application environment for us to run easily our any type of application. Guys, all of you get my point or not? That's the nature of the Spring Boot. That is the greatness of the Spring Boot. What Spring Boot is providing advantage to us, no need to think about the server environment, no need to think about the database environment, no need to think about the infrastructure related content. No, just to prepare a standalone application, provide the required configurations, just to run the standalone application. Automatically the standalone application will start the server, the standalone application will deploy our application to the server, the standalone application will make ready our database, the standalone application will establish communication between client and server, the standalone application will give an environment for us to submit a request to the respective server side application. Got it? What exactly the point I said to you? Come on, tell me then. I'm expecting some response, guys. You have to understand that each and every point. What Spring Boot is providing environment, in the sense that we have to understand. This Spring Boot is giving this standalone application to do all these activities. That means all these activities from a single location, all the activities from a single location. That single location is nothing but what there, a Spring Boot application. Now tell me, Spring Boot applications are easy to run or not? Spring Boot applications are easy to run or not? Say yes or no. Spring Boot applications are easy to run or not? Just how we are executing core Java programs in the same way, we are able to execute the Spring Boot applications. This is exactly the intention of like what the Spring Boot, which simplifies the total environment. Spring Boot simplifies the total environment of executing or preparing our enterprise applications. That is the reason why. That is the reason why I said to you clearly, Spring Boot allows us to create a standalone application in order to create any type of enterprise application like web application, distribute application, and so on, where it is very simple to execute the standalone applications. All right, sir. One more modification, small modification over this content. Spring Boot allows us to get a standalone application in order to create and execute any type of enterprise application like web application, distribute application, and so on, where it is right, sir, where we have to run the right instead of saying that just I want to modify this one, where right, sir, here just we have to run here, just run the standalone application. Here just run the standalone application, that's it. If you run the standalone application, automatically enterprise application is going to be started, automatically our application is going to be deployed, automatically the total server side environment is going to be getting ready. Finally, we are going to submit request to the respective server side application, then we are able to get response directly. Guys, please confirm to me, all of you are following the point what I am telling to you. These introductory points are very, very important. If you're missing this introduction content, no, you're not going to understand the total Spring Boot content here. Please respond to me. All of you are getting clarity on this? All right, right. Thank you, Shravani. Thank you, Pana Shravani. Thank you, Hojafia. Thank you, Rajulam. Venki. Thank you, Satyapravin. Thank you, Dinesh. Thank you, Silpa. Thank you, Suman. Right, yes, that's nice. Vaishnavi, Saurabh, Lavanya. Right, sir, now. Saransh Vishwari. Right. Okay, so many members. Thank you. Thanks so much. Now let's move on to the next point, guys. The next one is after that, Spring Boot. Spring Boot is able to provide. Spring Boot is able to provide production ready. Spring Boot is able to provide production ready features like metrics, comma, health checks, comma, externalized configurations, and so on and so on and so on. Spring Boot is able to provide the production ready features like what there metrics, comma, health checks, externalized configurations, and so on. All right, yes. Now all of you understand it clearly. Spring Boot is able to provide the production ready features that I already explained that, but again I'm telling to you, production ready features in the sense preparing project is not sufficient to deliver. Along with the project, along with the product, or along with the project, we have to provide some tools to monitor our project and to check whether that project is running successfully or not, and whether that project is going on effectively or not. That monitoring tools also we have to provide along with our project to the respective clients. All right, providing some administrative tools, providing what there some administrative tools along with our project is nothing but what there production ready feature. Guys, just give a minute of it, I'll come back. Right, sir. Now just have taken 1 minute gap. Now try to understand it where we are now, what we are discussing there. Yeah, that's nice, guys. Akhil, then you will get the answer in the next few more points. No, after the few more points, we are able to get the answer for your question. Don't worry for it. Yeah, now let's understand the point here. So production ready features like metrics. Metrics in the sense like what they, how many threads are working there, all the threads are working or not, how many connections are working in our project, all services are going on good. So they are nothing but what their metrics. Health checks are like what there inside the metrics only memory management system and everything will come there. How much memory is assigned, how much memory is a free memory, how much memory is vacant, then all these things will come under this metrics. All calculations are come under metrics. Health checks, no, health checks in the sense what there, like what there inside a single enterprise application, so many services we are going to use, like microservices or whatever it may be. All the services are running properly or not, all services are in up or not, all services, any service is down or not. If any service is down, alternative services are working or not, that health checks is going to be executed, that health checks things are going to be provided. Along with that, centralized configurations are provided or not, that is not individual module configurations. For all the modules at a single location we are going to provide the configurations. If you want to perform changes, if you want to do changes in our configurations at a single location, we have to go for the changes now. Then is that all the configurations are provided at a centralized configurations or not? All these things are nothing but what their administrative tools or production ready features. Along with your project, if you provide production ready features, along with your project, if you provide the production ready features, then the project is ready to deliver to the respective client. Everybody understand my point here? So this is the meaning of like what their production ready features. Guys, all of you understand it? No, then this is the point here I given there. Initially, this is a point here I given there. Spring Boot makes it is easy to create a standalone production grade Spring based project that just we can run. Observe carefully. Are you understanding it? What about the standalone application? This is the meaning of standalone application. Are you understanding what's the meaning of production grade Spring based application? This is a Spring Boot. This is the what their production ready features. There in the next points are given some clarity about this content, guys. All of you understand this point clearly. All right, so then after that, Spring Boot, guys, everybody answer my point clearly. Spring Boot simplifies bootstrapping the Spring application. Bootstrapping the Spring application. Bootstrapping the Spring applications. Guys, now understand this. These are required point for us now. Forget about this Spring Boot, no. Normal Spring application here I created, guys. Everybody understand my point now. Normal Spring application here we created. Okay. If it is a web application, by using Spring framework, if you prepare now, there are so many libraries we have to use. And some point here, so many libraries here we have to use. Application servers here we have to use. Databases here we have to use. Like this, so many internal tools here we are going to use to make ready any web application with the Spring framework. So when we start Spring framework, when we start executing our application, first of all, application is going to be loaded. At the time of loading that application, so many activities are going to be performed. So many activities are going to be performed in the sense it may take a lot of time for loading the Spring application. I'm not talking about executing the Spring application. Just I'm talking about loading the Spring application. So many activities are going to be performed. All these activities may take a lot of time for loading the Spring application. Just for loading the Spring application will take a lot of time. After loading the Spring application, then execution will be started. Then we are able to get output. But here, what Spring Boot is doing there, Spring Boot simplifies the booting of the Spring application, bootstrapping the Spring application. What's the meaning of bootstrapping? No, it is simplifying the loading of the Spring application. It simplifies the Spring application loading, right? It reduces the load time and a quick response here we are able to get. Immediately that application is going to be loaded. After loading that application, immediately we are able to get the response here. That means it simplifies bootstrapping of the Spring application. It reduces the load time of the Spring application. Directly when we execute the Spring Boot application, on immediately every environment will be getting ready. Immediately that application is ready to execute. Then we are able to execute our application directly. Right, sir. That's the meaning of like what the Spring Boot simplifies bootstrapping the application. That's one point here we have to understand. That's okay, fine. After completion of this, how it was designed, guys. Then how the Spring framework, Spring Boot was designed. Now try to understand it clearly. Spring Boot was designed. Spring Boot was designed on the basis of the existing Spring framework. On the basis of the existing Spring framework, in order to simplify, in order to simplify and speed up the spring based application development, spring based applications development. Guys, all of you read out this one. There is a lot of meaning inside this. Almost all I'm giving conclusion about this Spring Boot now. Now try to understand it. What is this actually? Spring Boot was designed on the basis of the existing Spring framework only. It is not having any of the new conventions. It is not having any of the new technology. Just it is an extension of the Spring framework. It is designed on the basis of the existing Spring framework only. But what is the purpose there? For what purpose there? In order to simplify and speed up the Spring based applications development. In order to simplify and speed up the Spring based applications. Definitely, to simplify the application development and to speed up the application development, the Spring Boot was designed on the basis of the Spring framework only. How it is going to speed up the application development, that we are going to understand in the further content. In the further points, we are going to understand the points clearly. Right, sir. Now this is completed. Observe carefully. Next one is observe carefully. Again, I'm telling there. Just try to remember these 2 points here. Speed up the Spring based application. Simplify and speed up the Spring based applications. Now elaborated information I'm telling you. Now try to observe carefully. All right. Spring Boot simplifies the Spring application development. By making all the configurations as a, this is very important, guys. Everybody must understand it. No, auto configurations, by making all the configurations as auto configurations rather than concentrating on the business logic. All right, sir. Spring Boot simplifies the Spring application development by making all the configurations as auto configurations. Yeah, auto configurations. Where instead of taking this point here, I'm going to give clarity on it. So where developers will focus more on the business logic instead of the configurations. Right. So Spring Boot simplifies the Spring application development by making all the configurations as auto configurations, where developers will focus more on the business logic preparation instead of thinking about the configurations, instead of thinking on the configurations. That's it, guys. So now tell me, what is the meaning of this auto configurations? Spring Boot simplifies the Spring application development by making all the configurations as what there auto configurations. Guys, now just a simple example. For the sake of this auto configurations, I'm telling one simple point here. Simple example. Now try to answer for it. If I want to prepare a Spring application, guys, what dependencies here we are going to provide? Come on. In a pom.xml file, we are providing some dependencies, as you know already. As of now, as per your awareness, what dependencies here we are providing inside the Spring configuration file, sorry, inside the pom.xml file? Answer for my question. What dependencies here we are providing? Spring context. That's nice. Spring context we are providing. Next one. What next one here? Spring core. Spring context. Then what next one, you know, apart from this? Spring-JDBC. Versions are okay, fine. Spring-JDBC. If it is AOP, Spring-AOP. If it is ORM, Spring-ORM. If it is web model, Spring-Web MVC, and so on and so on and so on. Of course, MySQL connector J. That's okay, fine. So these many dependencies here we have to provide. Am I right or not? If you want to prepare a Spring application, lot of Maven configurations we have to provide. More and more number of dependencies we have to provide in pom.xml file. Am I right or not? But what this Spring Boot is doing there, Spring Boot makes all these dependencies as the default configurations in our Spring Boot applications. Whatever the work we are doing explicitly for making ready our project there, all the things are automatically provided by Spring Boot internally. The developer is not required to think about what dependencies we are going to provide. Developer is going to focus more on application development. Guys, all of you are getting my point, what I'm telling there? So just example I'm giving that dependencies. Just example I'm giving dependencies here. What dependencies we require to prepare Spring application? Spring-Core, Spring-JDBC, Spring-AOP, Spring-Transactions, Spring-ORM, and so on and so on. So many things here we are providing. But what this Spring Boot is doing there, whatever the dependencies we are providing explicitly inside the Spring application, all these dependencies are made it as what there. It made it as what there is a default configurations in our Spring application, where a developer is not required to think. Developer is not required to think more about the dependencies what we have to add. Automatically Spring Boot will provide all these dependencies as what their default dependencies. But how it is, we will understand later on. I'll give some clarity how we are able to provide all these dependencies as a default dependencies, no, as a default configurations. I'll discuss with you later, no need to worry for it. Definitely we'll discuss about it, but timing we have to understand whatever the work we are doing explicitly to prepare an application, all the things are provided by Spring Boot as a default configurations internally, by default internally inside the content. Got it clearly? So this is the meaning of like what their auto configurations. This is the meaning of like what their auto configurations. Just example in the point of dependencies I've taken. Similarly, we have to go for the server configurations. Similarly, we have to go for like what there. If it is a Spring Web MVC application where handler mapping or view resolvers and these configurations are available, no need to provide them explicitly. That means whatever the configurations we are doing explicitly to make ready a Spring application, all the configurations, all the basic configurations are provided as a default configurations inside the Spring Boot applications, where developers are not required to think much about like what these configurations. Rather, developers will have to put concentration on what developers will put more concentration on what on the business logic only, not on the configuration details. Because of that reason, Spring Boot is having like what auto configurations. The point here I'm telling you clearly. Right, sir. Where developers will focus more on the business logic instead of thinking about the configurations now. Thinking about the project configurations. Yeah, there Spring Boot importance will coming into the picture. All right, sir. Good. Next one is after that. All right, sir. Observe carefully. One more point here I'm telling you, in the extension of this particular point I'm telling there, how Spring Boot is much simple when compared with the Spring framework. This example is one of the example case. Now observe carefully. Spring framework or else maybe Spring based applications requires configuration file in the form of an XML file. Spring based applications require configuration file in the form of like what there an XML file, spring-config.xml or maybe application context.xml. Definitely some configuration file is required if you want to prepare applications with what there Spring applications. Right, sir. Observe carefully. But Spring Boot does not require a configuration file in the form of an XML file. Right, sir. Spring based applications required configuration file in the form of an XML file, but Spring Boot does not require. Spring Boot applications does not require. Spring Boot applications do not require a configuration file in the form of an XML file. Why? Because two reasons are available here. What are the two reasons? No, why? Because Spring Boot follows auto configurations principle. So it is not required to provide configuration details explicitly, so XML file is not required. But still, if you want to provide some configurations to the Spring Boot applications, then we will use either properties file. We will use what there, either properties file or YAML file, AML files, either properties files or AML files. Observe carefully, maintaining XML file and maintaining properties files or AML files. If you observe this now, maintaining properties files is very simple when compared with maintaining XML files. Guys, now tell me which one is simple to manage there? Is that XML file or properties file? Properties file is very namesake, right? Properties file is just like what there is a text based, just only key value pairs we are going to provide, no tags, nothing else. But in the case of XML file, no, the tags we have to define, the definitions we have to provide, DTDs we have to maintain, XSDs we have to maintain, parsers we have to maintain, heavyweightiness will come there. But if it is a properties file is very simple to manage, nothing is required, no libraries are required. Properties file is a concept of the Java. XML is not the concept of the Java. So because of that reason, what is going to happen? It is very simple to manage the properties file. So Spring Boot is following properties files or YAML files configurations only. It does not follow like what their XML file configuration. Observe carefully, guys. Spring Boot is an XML free framework, XML free application development with the Spring Boot. But Spring Up in the sense, definitely we are going to use what their XML configurations kernel. So that is like what I'm telling there. Auto configurations advantage is available. Not only that auto configurations advantage, no, not only that auto configurations advantage here, but also here we are able to get like what there, not only that auto configurations advantage, no, but also like what there, what I'm telling to you, also carefully, but also that simplified components are used by Spring Boot. What are the simplified components? No, like properties files maybe, like YAML files maybe in place of the XML files. No, so because of that reason, the development work with the Spring Boot is very simple when compared with what their Spring framework. All right, guys. Now this is exactly the point here we have to understand clearly. Okay, fine. Fine. This is total content here what we are getting. Now try to observe carefully. Right, sir. This is completed that we have to understand. Okay, fine. Next one is watch. After understanding this content here, another point is like what there, what I'm telling to you about this Spring Boot. No. Next one is, by seeing all these points, I can give one conclusion, guys. By seeing all these points, I can give one conclusion. What is the conclusion here I'm telling there? When compared with the Spring framework, Spring Boot reduces the application execution time and increases the application performance when compared with the Spring framework. Spring Boot reduces the application execution time and improves the application performance. All right, then at the same time, another point here I'm telling there. Now tell me, all of you, now tell me, preparing Spring Boot based application, now tell me which one will take less development time, guys? Which one will take less development time? Is that Spring framework development or Spring Boot application development? Which one will take less development time? Come on, everybody, answer for my question. Where less development time is going to be happen? Spring Boot or Spring? No, definitely Spring Boot. In Spring Boot, less development time is going to be happen. When less development time is going to be happen in the case of Spring Boot, automatically productivity will be increased or not? Come on, guys, productivity will be increased or not? Productivity. What is the meaning of productivity? Now tell me, what is the meaning of productivity, guys? Productivity in a sense, less time, more implementation. Less time, more implementation. Within less time, implementing more. That is nothing but what their productivity in a small time, not performance. I'm telling that performance point of view, it's okay. Spring Boot is very good. Not only in the point of performance, no, productivity. That is within less time, producing more number of products. Within less time, producing more number of products. That is nothing but what their productivity. So another point is what there when compared with the Spring framework, Spring Boot will improve productivity. Spring framework will improve productivity. When compared with the Spring framework, Spring Boot will improve productivity. Right, sir. Means that within less time, more number of projects we are able to create. That is the meaning of what their productivity. That's okay, fine. Next one is other point here. I'm telling that now try to understand one simple principle that Spring Boot is following there. Spring Boot follows, guys, all of you observe carefully. Spring Boot follows Spring Boot follows opinionated default configurations principle approach. What is that approach, guys? Now tell me. Spring Boot follows opinionated default configurations. Almost all the same point I've given there already. Auto configurations point I'm telling there, but separately a simple name here we are introducing as a technical word. What is the technical word here? Opinionated default configurations approach. Spring Boot follows opinionated default configurations approach to reduce developers efforts that Spring Boot developers efforts that is Spring Boot avoids writing a lot of boilerplate code, comma, XML and annotations configurations. Yeah, same point. What I discussed there in the future, no? That means what exact points I discussed in the previous points here, but the same point in the technical words here I'm providing there. Spring Boot follows opinionated default configurations approach to reduce developers' efforts. That is, Spring Boot avoids writing a lot of boilerplate code, XML, and annotations configurations. Repeated code is going to be removed there. XML configurations are going to be removed, and maximum number of annotations are also be removed. Maximum number of annotation configurations are also be removed here. So it simplifies the total process. Then finally here what I'm telling there, it simplifies like what there the total process. This is exactly the meaning of like what there opinionated default configurations. That point here I'm telling to you. Right, sir. Now it is completed. After completion of this, then what next one here? Observe carefully. Spring Boot. Is that Spring Boot is for only standalone application or is it for any other Spring applications now? Right, now observe carefully. Spring Boot provides a very good environment. Spring Boot provides a very good environment to integrate Spring Boot applications with Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, Spring WebMVC, and so on and so on and so on. Guys, observe carefully. To perform Spring JDBC based application with the Spring Boot, data JDBC topic is available. To perform Spring ORM based applications in the Spring Boot, Spring Data JPI is available. To perform web-based WebMVC based applications with the Spring Boot, there Spring Web module is available. Spring Boot Web module is available. In a Spring Boot web topic, we are going to prepare web applications by using Spring Boot only. We are not going to do any other content directly here. We can understand. So Spring Boot provides a very good environment to integrate Spring Boot applications with the Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, Spring WebMVC. Right, sir. To prepare JDBC based applications in a Spring Boot, Spring Data JDBC is available. To prepare ORM based applications with Spring Boot, Spring ORM module is available. To prepare web applications with the Spring framework, Spring Web MVC is available. That we have to understand clearly. Right, sir. Now leave this point here. This is another thing here we have to understand. All right, sir. Good. Observe carefully. One more point here I'm telling there. Guys, now I'm asking one question to you. Now try to answer for it. If you want to prepare web applications with the Spring framework, application server we have to download and we have to install it in our system. Then we have to deploy our application to the application server. Am I right? If you want to prepare a web application with the Spring, server we have to install explicitly or not? Server we have to install explicitly or not? Come on, I'm asking to you only. We have to install server explicitly. In that we have to provide configurations. In that we have to deploy our application. That we have to do. Am I right or not? Now observe carefully. If you want to prepare and execute, Spring based applications, Spring based web applications, then we have to provide application servers explicitly. Then we have to provide application servers explicitly. But Spring Boot is able to provide its integrated embedded servers internally. If you want to prepare and execute Spring based web applications, then we have to provide application servers explicitly. But Spring Boot is able to provide its integrated embedded servers internally. What are these integrated embedded servers internally? Like almost a few servers are available. Like what are the servers? No, Tomcat, guys. Tomcat is one of the server which is already available inside the Spring Boot. So if you are using Spring Boot, automatically what we are able to get, no, Tomcat server will come to us. Integrated server is like what the Tomcat server. The Tomcat server here we are able to get directly. No need to install Tomcat server separately. Along with the Spring Boot, automatically Tomcat server will come. This is an embedded server, not Wildfly. Tomcat is one of the server here we are able to get. Next one is what there? Jetty is also another server. Next one is what there? Undertow. All these are servers here, and so on and so on and so on. Some other servers, but not Wildfly, guys. Wildfly is not available along with our like what is the Spring Boot application. Explicitly we can prepare WAR file for our application. Explicitly we can deploy that application to the Wildfly server if you want to do that. That we can do now. But the default, that means that integrated servers means that embedded servers inside the Spring Boot are like what they Tomcat, Jetty, Undertow. These are the three servers mainly we are having. Other servers if you want to use, then explicit configurations we have to provide. But by default inside the Spring Boot, what servers are available there? Tomcat, Jetty, Undertow, these servers are available. These servers are coming along with the Spring Boot by default. Understand this point here. So this is an advantage here we have to understand. Okay, now tell me, I'm asking this question to all of you. Now try to answer for it. Tomcat server is coming along with the Spring Boot application. That's okay. But who will run the Tomcat server, guys? Now tell me. Who will run the Tomcat server? Who will deploy our application to the Tomcat server? And who will provide environment to send a request to the Tomcat server? Now tell me, who will do all these things? Come on, who will do all these things? Yes, exactly. Previously, given the same point. A standalone application is provided by Spring Boot or not? A standalone application, main class and main method is provided. Inside the main method, one annotation is available. Spring application annotation is available. That annotation will do all these things. The total environment would be prepared by the standalone application. The standalone application is provided by what? Spring Boot. Yes, exactly. The standalone application is providing all this content clearly. Right, sir. That's okay. This is one point here we have to understand. Okay, fine. Then what is the advantage of this one? Now tell me here itself. I'm telling there. All right, sir. Now Spring Boot is able to provide its integrated embedded servers internally like these. No, in order to simplify and execute the web applications. In order to simplify and execute the like what their web applications. That's okay, fine. All right, sir. Next one is apart from this, one more point, guys. Guys, now tell me, I want to prepare a web application or maybe normal application, but where I want to integrate with the database. Come on, guys. Where I want to interact with the database, then where I'm going to store some data, where I'm going to retrieve some data, where I'm going to update some data. So I require database. I need what their database. If it is a normal Spring application, guys, everybody understand my point here. If it is a normal Spring application, Spring-based application, who has to provide database now? Tell me. Who has to take the explicit responsibility of providing database? Come on, guys. Who has to provide the database explicitly? Developers have to provide the databases explicitly. Then we have to provide databases explicitly. Developers have to provide databases explicitly. Everybody understand my point now? All right. So now, if you want to prepare a database related applications by using Spring framework, then we have to make ready the databases explicitly. But okay, but Spring Boot will provide an integrated embedded databases internally, like what databases are available internally, like what their H2 database. Understand my point? H2, Derbe, and so on. Some other in-memory databases are available. If you want to prepare database related applications by using Spring framework, then we have to make ready the databases explicitly. But Spring Boot will provide. But Spring Boot provides an integrated embedded databases internally, like in-memory databases. They are nothing but in-memory databases. I'll discuss within in-memory database, like what there H2, Derbe, and so on. These are provided here, where developers are not required to configure databases explicitly. Now, Oracle and MySQL are not provided internally inside the Spring Boot, but we can use this Oracle and MySQL explicitly aligned with our Spring Boot applications. Understand my point here now? Spring Boot has the support for in-memory databases internally. Embedded databases are like what they're in-memory databases. But if you want to use Oracle or MySQL there, explicitly we have to provide their configuration. Explicitly we have to use that the configuration. One more point I'm telling there, Spring Boot has the default servers and default databases. It doesn't mean we must use the same thing. It means that we can use some explicit servers and explicit databases also. It provides support for explicit servers and explicit databases also. Not only that internal databases and internal content, it provides some services for explicit support for all the remaining content also. Yes, sir. All of you are getting it or not? So this is exactly the point here I'm telling you. That's okay, fine. After completion of this, next one is Spring Boot provides a very good environment to prepare applications either by using Java or by using Groovy. Groovy is also like what there a scripting language. Without using Java, by using Groovy itself, we are able to prepare the applications by using Spring Boot. Okay. All right, sir. Then one more internal point here I'm telling there. Another point here, internal point here I'm telling to you. Now observe carefully. Spring Boot has an internal tool like what there CLI. What is that CLI actually? Command line interface. CLI command line interface in order to test and run the applications. To run the applications and to test the applications, internally CLI command line interface is a specific to the Spring Boot that was used by Spring Boot internally. Okay, right, sir. Good. Next one is one more point here I'm telling there. Spring Boot allows us to prepare the applications with Maven and Gradle. Right, sir. It supports Maven and Gradle based applications only. We can prepare the applications by using what there Maven and Gradle. Spring Boot allows us to prepare the applications by using Maven and Gradle. Minimum these two. Without using Maven, I want to prepare Spring Boot application in the sense not at all possible. Without Gradle, I want to prepare Spring Boot application in the sense not at all possible. Either we have to use Maven or we have to use Gradle to prepare the Spring Boot applications. Why? Because the Spring Boot development is going on with these two tools only. Right, guys. In a short, I want to provide an equation for the Spring Boot. No, is a final conclusion for this. An equation that I'm providing to you. All of you observe carefully. Spring Boot is equal to is an extension to Spring plus guys, all of you understand it clearly, plus is an extension to Spring plus embedded servers plus embedded database plus embedded databases plus after this embedded databases plus no XML configurations plus less annotations, even annotations are also be very less. Okay, auto configurations plus after these auto configurations, internal Maven and Gradle, development. That's it, guys. Now this is the meaning of simple Spring Boot. What is Spring Boot? If we are getting this question, just we have to say this point. Is an extension to Spring, embedded servers, embedded databases, no XML configurations, less annotations, auto configurations, internal Maven and Gradle development. That's it. This is a simple way, in a simplified manner. This is what Spring Boot content here we are providing. Guys, all of you are getting clarity on this? Just this is like what I'm telling to you, that introduction of the Spring Boot. What exactly the introduction here we are providing, all the points here we have to study. Right, guys, now it is completed. After completion of this, the next one is what there? Spring Boot features. The topic here we have to understand. Spring Boot features. Okay, guys, that's all for today. I want to stop this session now. Then tomorrow I'll continue the remaining part here, Spring Boot features. Right, now I will go with like what there Spring classes now. Just but within 5 minutes I'll start a Spring class now. Just wait for it, then I will start it. Okay, guys, shall we meet on tomorrow? Come on. Right, sir. Then tomorrow we are going to see the remaining content. Thank you, thanks a lot. We'll meet on tomorrow. The Spring Framework class is going on with workshop link, guys. I think already you're aware about it. Right, regularly. In which link I'm taking it, then the same link here I'm going to use. Okay, thank you.